Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
You.
Morning, sir.
Yes, we are
How was
late.
your night?
I'm having connectivity problems, but I finally managed to log in.
Yes, Mwalimu.
Okay, understood.
How was your night?
Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, we can continue.
We want to see if we can deal with this topic.
Yeah, we can go.
But just by way of coming back to class, we did we have so far looked at a number of courses, topics, and we are past halfway the course, and we anticipate that by the end of this month, we should be through with the course. We have done one assessment, an online cut that was scheduled for last week. A number of you, most of you did it, but very few of you had issues. What I want to comment is that when a cut is scheduled, the onus is on the student to ensure that she sits the cut. We don't entertain, and personally, I don't entertain excuses after the cut. The university rules and regulations specify what exactly the conditions are for one to be given a cut. You must explain why you did not sit for the cut as scheduled. So when you tell me about the portal, when you tell me about the phone, those are hearsays to me, because you are supposed to have made plans and you are supposed to have made arrangements so that you could sit for the cut as scheduled. Our cut 2, I want to announce, shall come on the week of elections. So the week that we shall have elections, that is the week that we shall have our cut 2. So that will be the final cut. And I wish to encourage every one of you to prepare in advance so that we sit the cut. I don't know when student elections will be, but I give a cut during that very week that you will be having your students' elections. So without much ado, we wish to proceed. And if there is anything, can we perhaps listen from the class rep? There are those who wanted to see me. I am available. I hope I'll complete this class by 9. Then give them 30 minutes to listen to them before I join another meeting at 9:30 in this institution. So we wish to listen to class reps. Class reps, if you are in, kindly give your comments. Class reps, you've been calling me. One of you came and saw me, met me. Can we hear what you had to the class?
Your absence.
Yes. So if you are not ready, then allow me to proceed. Because today we want to look at index numbers. And when we look at index numbers, we are not looking at those index numbers you are given while you are in high school, but we are looking at index numbers or otherwise indices as a value that summarizes changes in a variable. We know there are very many changes. There are changes in terms of human growth. You are young, you have grown, you are born without teeth, teeth grew, you are born without beard, some of you have developed beards, and such like things. So these are changes that many times you start from point A and you end at point B. So a value that will summarize that change as you move from point A to point B, that is what we are referring to as an index. And therefore, for us to measure that change, then we must compute a ratio between the two values, which we can always express as a percentage. To this end, therefore, it means index numbers are those values that will summarize as changes in a variable, and they will therefore be expressed as a percentage. It is important to note that these changes will be defining the magnitude of a phenomenon as measured from time to time. We want to see what change in terms of weight have you undergone. That you came to this institution in semester 1, you were 40 kilos. Now you are completing first year, you are 60 kilos. What will be the change? That change is what we are referring to as the measure over time. So this, we must select the change from what point. We must always start from either point A to B or from point B to A. So when we take the starting point is therefore what we shall be referring to as the point of origin, and this therefore must be selected in advance. Basically, there are various types of indices. We may talk of changes in price, and that gives us price indices. Changes in stock, and that gives us the stock index. Changes in quantity, and that gives us the quantity index. The cost of living index. The change in sales, that's the sales index. Your performance, because at the end of 4th year, we'll be looking at your performance index. What is it that you have gained in this university pertaining to your degree? That's a performance index. Production index, changes in business cycle, changes in salaries and wages, and the like. All these provide measures, and they summarize the changes in that variable, whether it's price, whether it's stock, whether it's quantity, whether it's cost of living, whether it's performance, whether it's production, name it. Those changes are basically what we are going to be concerned with. Now, it is important to note that many times we want to look at what affects the person. This course is basically supposed to help you understand what are the key things that help you understand what goes about you. It has been a common phenomenon, people saying that, oh, the cost of living has gone up, or the price of commodities is too high. So this is a very important index. And for that reason, this course aspires that we look at these price indices so that we understand the changes in price, and that's what provides for the analysis of inflation. So price indices are done by computing the changes in the price of commodity or commodities over a period of time. We are looking at maybe fuel, for example. What was the cost of fuel in the last month? What is going to be the cost of fuel on 14th? Because the new prices are announced on every 14th. Already there are indications that the price of fuel is going to increase. So as increase, what will be that increase? We can compute the percentage increase, and that percentage increase is what gives us the price of that, the price index of that commodity. So we do these price indices because we are out to describe and analyze inflation. Inflation is nothing other than an analysis of how the money value is appreciating or depreciating according to the prices of commodities. So when prices increase or when prices fall, that is basically what defines inflation. So a rise in the price usually signifies the deterioration in the value. So if prices of commodities increase, it means we are losing value of our money. And if the price decreases, then we are appreciating in terms of our money value. So this is a very important index. It's an index that we shall use to analyze and to describe inflation. So for us to compute these indices, we must have certain considerations. So one reason or one consideration that we have is that what is the purpose of the index? Are we just to measure the change in the price? Are we looking at the cost of living? What do we want? Number two is that we have to select the commodities. So we know that commodities come at various levels. We have those that are common for all of us. We have those that have preferences. We have those that are based on the tests. For you, you prefer sugar, to use sugar, and for me, I take into fear. So there are those changes. So how do we select those commodities? Then the base period, the reference point. How are we going to choose? Are we taking the starting point A, as I said, or are we choosing to start from point B? So where you start from is the best period. And where you are considering the price, that's the year or the analysis period. So there are various types of indices. So the choice of the index to use is also important. Are you looking for a single commodity? Are you looking for a set of commodities? Are you just looking at the common average to be used? Or what is it? Are you weighting? And if you are weighting, what is the basis of the weight? Is it because of the budgetary constraints? Is it because of the quantity bought or quantity sold? Or what is it? So the choice is very important. So the weighting is very important. Then finally, we must also consider the price quotations. What are these price quotations based on? Is it in terms of kilograms? Is it in terms of packets? Is it in terms of liters? Is it in terms of gallons? Or what is the form of the price quotations? We know that most commodities, their price quotations are based on certain factors, and the unit of measure, this is what makes provision for what to use. So those are the factors that we must consider as we look at the price indices. So we want now to look at some of these indices, and they are basically 5 in nature. There are 5 types that we wish to look at. This is what can be used to describe and analyze inflation in any country, whether it's for a single commodity, whether it is for a set of commodities, whether we want to weight it, whether we want to have the choice of the period as either the base year or the year of analysis or whatever it is, on the basis of the 6 factors that we have looked at. So we look at the types of price indices. So the first type is what we refer to as the price relative index. The price relative index is just a measure of the change over time in the price of a single commodity. We are looking at the change in the price of sugar. In 2024, it was 124, maybe, or 200 for a kilo. In 2025, it is 300. So what is the change? And remember, we said that we express index numbers as the change in the variable over time. And this is expressed as a ratio or as a percentage. So how do we do this? So price relative index, then we are to determine the change over time in the price of a single commodity. If it is sugar, if it's beef, it's bread, whatever the item, the commodity that we are looking at. So how do we determine this? We determine this by getting the price in the year of analysis, PN. N standing for the year of analysis. Divide this by the price in the base year. Or where are we starting from? O is for the origin, for the starting point. N is the nth point in the year. So the PN over PO times 100, because we express this as a percentage. So for us to do this, then we express this, and that gives us just the relative change in price. And mostly, this measure is not so good because it does not provide the general movement of the price of commodities. It looks at a single commodity. The price relative index focuses on a single commodity. That is the disadvantage. So how do we go about ensuring that we get the general movement in the price of commodities? Once we do that, then we go for the simple average price relative index. Simple average meaning we are looking at the price relative indices of the various commodities and then just dividing that by the number of commodities. So if we look at sugar, bread, tea leaves, milk, name them. So we get each of the price relative indices. Divide this by the number of commodities that we are looking at. This is what we are talking about. So for this, therefore, it is sum of PN over sum of PO times divided by the N, where N is the number of commodities, and this gives us the value. So for this, ladies and gentlemen, we need to look at it in terms of its usefulness. That simple average price relative index is also limited, because if you take price of sugar, tea leaves, milk, bread, and you're looking at them as all being equally important to the consumer, then we should be making a mistake, because we know consumers have some tastes, consumers have some preferences. One would prefer bread, another one would prefer the Irish potatoes or the ugalilala or whatever it is. One would prefer soda, but others don't even take soda. So there are those changes, differences in terms of the consumer preference and tastes, which makes this index not to be a good index. Then we have the weighted average price relative index. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at how do we weight, how do we proceed to ensure that we are now giving the proper weight to the commodities. That proper weight to these commodities is provided for by way of averaging. That we can weight these items on the basis of some criteria. Say, for example, you have some budgeted provisions, and you are saying that I am going to spend 100 shillings on sugar. I'll spend 200 shillings on bread. I'll spend this amount on this. So if that is the case, then it becomes necessary and sufficient that we weight each of the items. And we can use the budget allocations so that we look at it, we keenly observe, and then we look at how much have we allocated for that respective budget. So if that is what is to go by, then we are saying that we are able, and we shall be able, to look at the weighting that we are giving, the weighting that we are providing for purposes of dealing with the problem of treating all goods and services as being equal. So that is how we do it. So we can calculate, we can do whatever we wish to compute, and then we move forward to seeing something that is provided and equally agreeable. The fourth type is what we refer to as the simple aggregate price index. Simple aggregate price index. With the simple aggregate price index, we are now looking at what is the total in terms of the prices of commodities, the set of commodities in the year of analysis, and what is the gross price in terms of the year or the base year. So this is just given by the total price or the sum of PN divided by sum of PO. So this is what we shall use, and because we express it as a percentage, that will give us a better option. So we will look at examples for this, and then we shall interpret. And mostly the interpretation is based on the figure that we shall have received. A positive value normally indicates a positive increase. A negative value indicates a drop in the price. So if prices reduce, then we shall get the index as being negative. But simple aggregate price index also treats items equally. But as they do this, we are looking at the taste and preferences, as we said. Another problem of simple aggregate price index is that which we talked of, the unit of measure, the unit of price quotation. We are taking a kilogram, a liter, a packet in terms of grams, and we are looking at this as being equal. That seems not to be the case. So as we look at this, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to look at this and then see to it that we are treating all items equally, which is not the case. So how do we go about that? We go about that by now creating the weighting. And now this gives us the weighted aggregate. the weighted aggregate price index. Now, when we talk of the weighted aggregate price index, we have to be very keen that we consider the quantities bought either in the reference period or in the year of analysis. So when we consider those in the reference period, then that will be referred to as less per year's price index. When we consider the quantities in the year of analysis, then we consider that as the per share price index. So we look at this and then we get the average. And this is what we are going to look at. So we can make a comparison because there are several other indices that come about. So if we get the positive square root of less per year and per share index, then we get an ideal index that can be used now to explain. So most cases, then this Fisher's ideal index developed by Ivan Fisher, less per year's index was developed by somebody called Les Payer. And these are names of Indians who developed these indices. So we can look at what is the best. And to this end, therefore, the most ideal is what Ivan Fisher has explained as the Fisher's ideal index. But what is it that we need to understand about index numbers? When both the base year and the year of analysis prices and quantities are considered, this can be reconstructed and approximated. And when these are done, they closely give a value that is ideal. This one, we call it the Marshall-Edgeworth index. The Marshall-Edgeworth index. So as we look at this, our concern is how do we go about it? How do we move around it so that we get the best? But generally, if prices of all commodities change in the same proportion, then the per share and less per year indices are equal. The weighting might be therefore irrelevant. And if the weighting is irrelevant, then it takes us back to the price relative index, the simple average price relative index, the weighted average index. But because we know if quantities of all goods change in the same ratio, then the two indices will never ever be the same, because the two will be quoted as the same if all goods changed in the same ratio. The same applies. We know that there is price change. There is normally quantity change. But the change in the price, the change in the quantity, they are independent and at times dependent. Mostly, when prices increase, people tend to buy less of that item. What happens? An increase in price reduces the quantity demand, the law of demand and supply. When the prices drop, a commodity drop, we tend to buy more of that cheaper product. Therefore, neither price nor quantity will change in the same ratio, and therefore the two indices will never ever be the same. This is because of what I've explained as the law of demand and supply. But at times, consumer changes and tastes, they induce different market adjustments. So when something is expensive, you will still go and buy it because it is a basic need. Most of us will want to eat ugali. So when the unga goes at 300 shillings, we'll still buy the unga. Why is that the case? It's because of the tastes and preferences. But on the whole, comparing the per share and less per years, per share only gives us the relative change in the cost of purchasing, for it uses the reference period. So it's more realistic. Less per years, on the other hand, is less expensive to compute because it only requires quantities bought in the year of analysis. So with that in mind, therefore, we are able to look at it and say, yes, this is it, and this is the index that we want. It is up to us to decide what index we want and what is the reason for the index that we want. So we are going to look at this in terms of examples, because we want now to understand and interpret the index or the indices that we have looked at. We will start off by looking at one at a time. We will wish to look at what is it that is done for us to compute. We look at it to see to it regarding what can be done, and we wish to look at it in terms of the types of computations that come thereof. So as we do this, ladies and gentlemen, we are focusing onto the analysis, and we would wish that this analysis is given to us in terms of what we require. So we wish to look at examples, then we see what happens. So as we do this, let us set our system so that we see how do we look at some examples. So be patient, we want to look at examples. So those who have questions can ask. If you have a question, you ask. Be patient, we want to see how to go about it.
Imekuaje? Bado kuna class.
Nyamaza wewe.
Naleka ameenda wapi?
Subiri kidogo na kuja.
Abduction.
Ai. Yaani akuchererea.
Mwenye hizi
But you let's say kumirako.
bafu nyamasini.
Kila mtu atoke.
Simnyamaze.
Hiyo ndio nilikuwa nayo. Basi. Wewe sasa ya hongo tupatiane. Bado tuko na
Unampata kwa mzee na elimu. Well, you don't know. I don't know the network. Your door. Yeah. On. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Are you getting me? Are you getting me, class?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, hello,
Yes,
hello,
sir.
hello. We are getting you,
Yes,
madam.
we are getting you, sir.
Are you able to see my face?
No.
Oh, we are not seeing you, mwalimu. You are not seeing.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you seeing me?
No.
We are getting you, sir.
We are
You
getting
appear and
you.
you
You see me in the
disappear like a
camera?
ghost, mwalimu.
Yes, I'm
I
seeing
want
you.
you to see me in the camera.
You have
But you
disappeared.
have a lot of ego in the place that you are.
Are you seeing me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We are see. Ah, you have disappeared again.
You are lost in.
Why are you losing me? I want you to see me. Are you seeing me? Are you seeing me? Are you seeing me? Weka tusikie ukisema. Are you seeing me, ladies and gentlemen? Hello? So here I am. And I want us to do examples from the board. Okay? So we are looking at index numbers. And we are saying that an index is a value that summarizes changes in a variable. So it should be able to give us a change from point A to point B. Point A will be our base point. Point B will be our analysis point. So we have the year of reference, and we have the base year. Now, as we look at all those factors that we have discussed, we wish now to see how do we now compute. And I'm using this board to demonstrate how the computational price indices are done. You have to pay attention. You have to work with me to do the calculations. And from today henceforth, we are now going to interact through this forum. I will give you examples on the board. You will be getting them, and we will be proceeding for us to complete this course for the two topics that are left. Maybe you need a calculator so that you can also verify the calculations that we are going to do. I'll be engaging you, you do the calculations, then you give me the answers. So for today, we are looking at index numbers. And with the index numbers, the way we have said, we want to summarize changes in a variable. And we have looked at 5 types of indices. One is the price relative index. Price relative index. We have said that this is what summarizes changes in the value of a single commodity. So if we are looking at a single commodity, say sugar. My pen does not write proper. Sugar. We know that the price of sugar has changed over time. Take, for example, in the year 2022, and now we are in the year 2025. The price of sugar in 2022, say it was 150 shillings. The price in 2025, you know what it is. This is 250 shillings. So we wish to know what is the change in the price of this commodity. For us to do that, we need to calculate the price index, which we say that this is the PN or PO times 100, because we are expressing this as a percentage. Are you seeing what I'm writing? If my pen is not very clear, you say it. You have a blue one. Blue one. I hope it's not a permanent mark. Because I used to read the mark. So when we look at the price relative index, the price in the year of analysis, because we are saying 10 is our year of analysis. And O is our best or the year of reference. So we are starting from the best to the year of analysis. So if we have 2022 and 2025, which is our best year, the starting year, that our starting year is 2022. So 2022 become our PO, is our best year. When are we doing the analysis? We are analyzing the year 2025, so the 2025 will be our PN. And therefore, the price relative index for this commodity sugar, because we are looking at a single commodity, which is given by the price in the year of analysis divided by the price in the base year times 100. This will give us the price in the year of analysis is 250 divided by the price in the base is 150. Then multiply this by 100. What do you get? So you do that, then you give us the answer. So what we have is 250 divided by 150 times 100. So this gives us 166.67%. 166.67%. So this is the price relative index for this single commodity, sugar. So if this is sugar, and we have seen that between 2022 and 2025, it has an increase of this. How do we interpret this index now? What this index means is that the price of this commodity sugar has increased by 66.67% over that period of 3 years, from 2022 to 2025. That's the interpretation that over the period under consideration from 2022 to 2025, the price of this item sugar has increased by 66.67%. You can consider other items. You can consider bread. You can consider fuel. As long as it is a single commodity. That is what we are saying. So if you are looking at a single commodity, then the price relative index is done that way. But we have looked at the advantages or disadvantages of this. This index is not good because it's only looking at a single commodity, and therefore it cannot give us the general trend in the price changes. Because of that, we looked at now the second index. The second index, which we have looked at, is none other than the simple average price relative index. The simple average price relative index. What have we said about it? That this is the sum of the relative price indices for each commodity. So it gives us the sum of Pn to Po. Divide this by, it's a simple average, divide this by n times 100, where this n is the number of commodities. The number of commodities. This Pn is the price in the year of analysis. Po is the price in the base year. So basically, it is the simple price relative index, but we are now average. That's why simple average price relative index. Take, for example, you have the following items. Suppose you have the following items. I want to consider 2 items. One is sugar, and 2 is bread. And I can look at this over a period of time. Maybe I look at it from the year 2008. I can look at it as the year 2012. Then I can look at it for the year 2016. Sugar in 2008 was say 70 shillings. In 2012, it rose to 80. In 2016, it went to 100 per kilo. Bread, on the other part, this was 25 shillings per a lot. In 2012, it went to 30 shillings. In 2016, it went to 35. Suppose that is the case. Then we are saying that simple average price relative index is a simple averaging. So we get for each price relative index. So for us to do this, we need to get what is the price relative index for sugar. We need to choose the best year. Suppose we want to see from 2008 to 2016. So if we are looking from 0.8 to 0.8 to 2016, then we are saying that 2008 becomes our best year. 2016 becomes our year of analysis. Our PN is that price of 2016. Our PO is the price of 2008. So for sugar, the price of the index will be PN of PO 100 divided by 70 plus. How about for bread? PN is 35. All of PO is 25. All this now divided by how many commodities do we have? We have 1, 2 divided by 2 because there are 2 commodities times 100. This is for the year 2008 to 2016. From 2008 to 2016. So we can compute this, get the index, and interpret it as we did for the price relative index. That is how it is done. We can look at it for different time periods. Say, for example, from 2012 to 2016. If it's from 2012 to 2016, then our PN remains in 2016. Our PO is 2012. So what is the simple aggregate price relative index would be 100 all over 80 plus 35 over 30 divided by N is 2 items, then you get the index. Suppose we are looking at 2008 to 2012. When it's 2008 to 2012, then our base year will remain to be 2008. Our year of analysis will be 2012. So the price relative index for sugar will be 80 over 70 plus 30 over 25. Divided by, you have 2 items. And that therefore, 100 plus 100 will give us the simple average price relative index. That is what we are saying. Suppose we had 3 items. I am adding there this sugar, bread. I can add there milk. Say in 2008, a liter of milk was say 20 shillings. In 2012, it went to say 30 shillings. In 2016, say it went to 40 shillings. If I have get the simple average price relative index now for the three commodities. Taking 2008 as my base year and 2016 as my year of analysis. Then I have the price relative index for sugar 100/70 plus bread 35/25 plus milk 40/25 divided by how many items are there? 1, 2, 3. So my end denominator will be 3 because I'm considering 3 items. I can do that for each and every year. But this we saw that we are treating all items as being equal, yet we have different tastes and preferences for the consumer. How do we now bring in variations? That we bring in variations by looking at the weights. Well, how do we bring in the weights? The weights can be maybe in terms of the budget that I want now to allocate that for sugar within a month or a semester, I am going to spend 500. On bread, I'll spend, because I have visitors, I'll spend say 600. On milk, I take milk quite often, I'll spend 1,000. This is a hypothetical case. Now, how do I go about getting my weighted average price relative index? We have said that this is computed by the sum of the respective price relative indices, which we say is given by Pn all over Po. But this one we are weighting it. Wi is the weight we are attaching that commodity. Now, this divided by the total weight that we have times 100. The total weight. So if it is for these 3 items, then the weighted average price relative index for sugar, we are looking at 2008 to 2016. So I'll have this as 100/70 times what is the weight for that item. I'm weighting it 500 plus. The second item is bread. What is it that I'm weighting? I'm weighting in 2016, that's 35 divided by the base year 25 times the total weight 600. This is for the second item. Plus, my third item, milk. We are weighting it, we want to weight it analyzed in 2016. So this will be 40 all over. The reference period of the base year is 20 times what is the weight that I'm attaching? 100. All this divided by what is my total weight? It is 500 plus 600 plus 1,000. This times 100. That will give me an index. What we need to note, ladies and gentlemen, that we are weighting each of the price relatives. And the weighting here used is the budget constraint. That in my budget, I'll allocate 500 for sugar, 600 for bread, 1,000 for milk. Because we know milk has very many uses. Apart from taking it as fresh, unaweza kuweza kwa mboga, unaweza itumia kama mboga yenyewe, ferment it, unaweza tumia kwa chai, and the like. So this is the argument. This is what we are saying. That we can look at it from 2008 to 2016. You can also look at it maybe from 2008 to 2012. So if it's 2008 to 2012, the 2008 thing remains our base year, our reference year. 2012 now becomes our year of analysis. So how do we go about it? Then it will be 810 divided by 70 times 500 for sugar. For bread, 30 divided by 25 times the weight, 600. Plus, for milk, 30 divided by 20 times 1000. Divided by, what is the total weight? 500 plus 600 plus 1000. Then multiply that by 100% because an index is expressed as a percentage. It is a ratio between two numbers, but it's always expressed as a percentage. Then we get what was the increase or what was the reduction in terms of the prices of commodities. We proceed to the next. So we have the simple average, then the weighted average. Then we have what we call the aggregate, simple aggregate price index. With the simple aggregate price index, this is an aggregative approach that with this, it doesn't get the total sum of Pn all over sum of Po times 100. The summation. The summation. So with our 3 years, we want to see what will be the total prices of each of those commodities. What is it that we want to do? That as it is in the year 2008, in the year 2012, in the year 2016, what was the total prices? That for 2008, add all these 70 plus 25 plus 20. What does that give you? This gives you 5, this is 9, 10, 11. Go to 2012. This is 0, 140. Go to 2016. This is 5, 7, 1. So, we are concerned with the prices in the year of analysis. We want to use a different approach. Now we want to base on 2012. We are using 2012 as our base year and 2016 as our year of analysis. So if 2012 becomes our base year, so our PO will be 140. And if we are doing analysis in 2016, then our PN is 175. Which consequently therefore gives us our sum of PN 175 divided by sum of PO 140 times 100, and that gives you a simple aggregate price index. We are using 2012 to 2016. Today, those who have been making a lot of noise, unless you are very careful, you get mixed up. So you must be very careful today, going forward. Suppose we want to find out from 2008 to 2016. Our base year will be 2008. Our point B, our point of analysis will be 2016. So our simple aggregate price index from 2008 to 2016 will therefore be 175 divided by 115 times 100. It is a simple aggregate approach. Now, once we have done that, we have looked at what are the advantages and disadvantages. Then we now proceed to look at what the weighting is. And with the weighting, ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that when we weight, then we are looking at the weighted aggregate price index. The weighted aggregate price index. So with the weighted aggregate price index, this is given by the sum of Pn weight I divided by the sum of PO with the weight times 100. WI is the weight that we are attaching. And total, without the weighting, the weight that we are giving matters a lot. We are taking this weight and the quantities bought in the respective years. If it is a year of analysis, or if it's in the base year. If we take it to be in the base year, then that gives us less bias price index. And if now the weights, we are saying the weight in the year of analysis to be quantity or reference or base, then the weight in the year of analysis to be QN, to be like the price, because PN is the price in the year of analysis. QO will be the quantity in the year of analysis. So when we take the price in the base year, QO, then that becomes less biased price index. So this weighted aggregate formula shall change to sum of PN QO divided by sum of PO QO times 100. This is the less biased price index. When we are using the quantities bought in the base year, when we use the quantities bought in the year of analysis, QN, that gives us per share price index. Per share price index. Which therefore gives us sum of PN QN divided by sum of PO QN. Because this is the price relative, PN over PQ. PN over PO is the price relative. This times 100 times 100. So this is what is giving us the difference in the weighting. When we use the quantities bought in the base year and when we use the quantities bought in the year of analysis, those in the base year gives us less per share. Those in the year of analysis gives us per share. The positive square root of the two is what gives us the Fisher's ideal index. So Fisher's ideal index is the square root of per share sum of PN QO all over sum of PO QO times, let's bias, sum of PN QN all over sum of PO QN, this times 100. This is less bias, this is per share, and this is Fisher's. The Fisher's can be approximated. When it's approximated to get a gross value, then we call that the Marshall-Edgeworth index. So Marshall-Edgeworth index, instead of multiplying, it is plus. So it's sum of PNQ1 plus sum of PNQ all over sum of POQ plus sum of POQN. That gives us an approximation that gives us a gross value, which we call Marshall-Edgeworth index. To this effect, therefore, what we need to do is, one, identify the price in the year of analysis. Two, identify the price in the base year. Three, identify the weights, quantities bought in the base year. And finally, four, identify the quantities bought in the year of analysis. Once we do that, then we work out this PNQO, POQO, PNQN, POQN. Then what is left is substituting in the formula. And that makes it as easy as it is. The bottom line is the quantities bought in the base year are QO. The quantities bought in the year of analysis are QN. The prices in the base year, PO. The prices in the year of analysis, PN. That is what it is. Example. We can look at an example that I can project. Watakuja consultation. We told them to form groups and have discussions and then come. I lost him. I lost internet connectivity. Uko natumia nini yako? Na hii ndio kwa hii internet is on off. Na huko penye mnaenda itabidi upewe nini strong. Who is not responding? Unajua kufanya hivi example tulikuwa tunajua hivi. Nataka kuwapea hii watu example na wapea swali wafanye. Tuone mtafika maji. Yes, here we are. So are you seeing my screen? So look at this. Below is the prices and quantities of selected commodities sold at a certain kiosk in the year 2000 and the year 2010. So we are looking at 3 items: maize, wheat, and beans. The prices for the year 2000 and the quantities in the bags. Then for the year 2010, the prices and the quantities in the bags. So we have those. So if you look at this, then we ask ourselves, which is our base year and which is our year of analysis. So if you look at this, our base year is the year 2000, and our year of analysis, our PN, is 2010 in terms of the price. Quantities, therefore, 2000 will be QO, 2000, this one will be QO, 2010 will be QN. So with this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, let us work out and generate that table. Let us generate that table that we can use for us to do. So we have the PO, QO, PN, QN, get the PO, QO, QN, QN, like that. Complete that table. Then we see what you have gotten. Generate the table to help us do the summaries so that we can work out the less per yes, per share, the Fisher's ideal index, and the Marshall Edgeworth. Did you share with them what I sent you? The notes? Yeah. So you tukimaliza, I'll also send you. Leo wanafunzi ni wachache. Online, they are 640. And they are normally around 1,000. Leo ni wachache. Please do, then you can complete the values on the chat box. We can compute. Complete your values on the chat box. Banana comments. No. Morning. Yes. Fine, thank you. Yes. From KPLC. Mhm. Yeah. 3 by 3. Uh-huh. Yeah, boy. Mm. That one without looking at it inside, because I'm in class, by the way. We did Manja side, and it has my blessings. It has my blessings. Yeah. Huh? Nimewambia wafanye tu. I've told you just to do the computations, POPQO, PNQN, PNQO, and the like, then stop there. You can proceed to compute the less bias, partial, and the Fisher's ideal index. Compute the less bias, partial, and the Fisher's ideal index. Some students mislead others. Now, for the sake of the lazy ones, check that's what you have as the solution. For the sake of the lazy ones, check that that's the solution. Check. Please check that the solution. Are we there, all of us? So with this, you can do the less per yes, per share, and the features. Then you get through this example too. Look at example 2. Look at example 2. Now you can look at this and can you do a due diligence of that letter first as you sign? Hello? Just do a due diligence, something I just popped to my mind of fraudsters. Yeah, so you can call Kenya Power to verify and see, especially yes. They have sent you via mail. Yes. Yes. People have gone high tech, just do a due diligence. Thank you. So you can do that. We'll start from there next time. Do the features, the per share and the less per yes for that example too. Then for this exercise, some of you have the mandate, you can screenshot. For this exercise, please, some of you can screenshot. Screenshot that exercise, also do it. And the best way to do it is to have interactions, discussion groups. And I'm now going to let you know that you must enhance them, because next week we start on something else. So we want to move forward. I see Kina Naomi Kwemoi have done well. Isaac Omondi, I see you have given. It's okay. So that concludes our discussion. I think we can adjourn until next week. We can adjourn until next week. So thank you so much. I don't see any question on the chat box. The notes will be given and will be shared the way the other ones will be shared. So that is the position. We will share with you what we are doing. Let us learn first. Was what the course a cut? I made an announcement, and we are not going. It's not business as usual. To my notes, I don't like repeating myself. I say once and for all. Thank you, Naibei. Don't start asking me things to irritate me. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend. Let us meet next week.